Alright, what is good, you lot? So, I'm back with another video. It's not a great one today, so I finished the day with a minus 60 ticks. And before I go into my breakdown of the trade that I've taken, I know that the trade that I've taken isn't to plan. I will play a clip that I just recorded straight after my trade loss, after I came out of the outcome. We filled in the journal and everything. Those were my live reactions. Those was me saying that I actually entered the position with the right mindset and the right requirements. But when you look back and review the trade, the same trade that we took, you actually didn't. I didn't have the daily bias with the correct confluence for me to have taken a buy. I had actually had a daily bias that was very bearish, and that cost me a very reckless position today. So emotions are running high. Yesterday we took a trade position, negative 115 ticks, because I made a mistake with the way I entered the trade. The way I set my buy stop was 3 ticks below the actual high that I wanted to get grabbed. So actually I entered an invalidated trade opportunity. And today was not really so much the same. It's just having the discipline. I was a little bit trigger happy today, let's be honest. Everything in the trade setup on the lower time frames made sense. So if we go into the breakdown now, you'll begin to understand that we had the current range, we understood what needed to happen, we had the liquidity areas below. This is a indication of a range play. The reason why I took a trade like this is because we started seeing candle structure on the 30 start to give you some candles that opened up with some bullish contradicting candles, which it actually did for some time. But we actually got stopped out before price rallied back up towards the ultimate level, which was on your hour time frame here at 2 p.m. And that was where we took the trade. We took the trade at 2:02. You can see that we had the fake out, price action comes down, you validate the area already, you've already been given indication on these candles that price action is looking for a retest to push back up. So when you had the hour candle open, you were looking for a low to get created because the 30 opened up with the top wick first. So when you got the bottom wick, you're looking for a rebreak of the highs, which you eventually got. As you can see here, you opened up, that's 202, 202 candle with a top wick, and then you come down to rebreak that candle low. So you retested the low on the 1 hour open, validated for a rebreak of the high and the drive up. That was a drive up. First indication is the 1 minute time frame gave you a no top wick closure. But if you look on the daily time frame, look at the way the previous day closed. You're obviously going to get the wick fill. Now, price action had a low here at 47.81. We didn't have price action all the way down here to retest lows yet. And I took a buy based off of that candle. But I took the buy without looking for a retest of the break of the lows on the daily first to give me confirmation that price action wants to continue the push up. So the narrative, out of my 4+1 checklist, the narrative wasn't checked off. So we weren't fully validated. It wasn't green lights all the way around in this position, was it? And it comes back to me telling myself, look, you've come out of a really big loss that I didn't think I deserved, which I now understand that I do. I made the wrong choice I made the wrong move by not thoroughly checking how I entered that position, if it was the right levels or not. And I also made the mistake of not exiting the position when I knew and recognized immediately that I was invalidating the position. I could have avoided such a big loss that is not so difficult to come back from. It might be getting into my head, and I think it has gotten into my head. I've become a little bit more abrupt in my decision making and a little bit more frustrated to come to the charts and saying, look, the pressure is on that I want to make it back. And what happens when you put pressure on yourself? You begin to fall behind. You begin to do unnecessary things to manipulate your mind into thinking that you're doing more. Everyone knows when you're in the game long enough, doing more is not necessarily getting more out of the market. I've said it before and I'll say it again. You get paid to wait. You do not get paid for your executions or the frequency or however many times a week you trade. You get paid to wait for your setup and your requirements to enter and validate the market structure. I have gone against a lot of my rules over the past 2 days. I've set myself a deadline, but the deadline should not be there to put so much pressure to the point that you're forcing things and stupid mistakes that you've made in the past. I'm a trader now of 3 years in the game, and I still have yet to pull out a payout, pass a trading evaluation, or anything. I still feel like I am an absolute failure because I have nothing to show for it. I've built up skills, and I have shown myself that I can set and follow a set of rules. But there are times like this where I think I've taken it a step too far and I'm failing to recognize that when I'm in the situation of entering a trade and I say that I've checked my checklist, I actually haven't. Today I slipped up again. We're at minus 60 ticks. Price action rejected, retested the lows again, broke the lows before pushing up. I'm not happy, but it's part of the game. I'm going to come back tomorrow no matter what. You're not going to quit in this industry, no matter how low you feel. Maybe you take a break, maybe you step away from the charts, but the moral is you have to keep that healthy mindset. It doesn't matter if you set a deadline, it doesn't matter if you say take as long as it takes, but you cannot put additional pressure that will push you towards making the wrong choices. If you are a person that you think you're capable of setting a very strict goal and a deadline on yourself and still be able to follow your rules, then by all means do that. That is exactly what I thought I could handle, and apparently not. So I need to step back and understand that, okay, if I still want to keep that deadline, I have to make sure that every single day I show up, I'm following my plans absolutely 100%. That is my goal, that's my focus. So if we give ourselves a little update on where we are, if I have it up, I think I don't, but we are 28% now in the account. We came from 43%, now we're down to 28%. I want to follow 1 to 2. If we can get 1 to 2, that's fantastic, but just follow the narrative, follow the rules, follow the risk to reward, follow the plan, and that's it. I'm going to keep posting updates here. We're going to see where it takes us, but ultimately the goal is the same. You want to become consistently profitable, you're expected to follow your rules, and you don't let your psychology take over from the actual fundamentals that you have on the trading charts. That's that. I'll come back tomorrow. So took a loss on micro gold. So we're minus 60 ticks currently on the day. And the position that we got entered into was based off of the 1 hour candle open. So you had a top wick open first, which is completely fine. You typically understand that you're going to get a push down, so we needed a retest of the lows. So if you're developing bias, yes, the daily time frame is currently bearish. You're expecting rebreak of the lows to come down. We understood this. We wanted a short-term play based off your 4 hour time frame. So the 4 hour time frame is giving you some form of doji reversal. Now it's not always a reversal, so we need more confirmation. That led us to believe that the 1 hour time frame should pop up no matter what, but we need a bottom wick. 30-minute closed, respecting the range, although the body of the candle is still closing below the previous candle low, it's still respecting. I'd need some form of grab to the low, and you did just that on the 15. The 15 gave you some form of reversal, so once you had highs come up, you had then the 1 minute time frame give you a price point to push you down. It rebroke that previous low, therefore I was validated into the buy. As we got into the break of the highs, price action on the 1 minute gave you a closure like this, which unfortunately for me just stopped you out. So the plan on the trade was to plan. So I understood this. Now, although the daily bias wasn't the same as what I expected, the daily time frame was the only alignment that I didn't have. We understood that we can actually alter the context of price action. So perhaps it was a bad trade, but in terms of the validity, I had my current range that we had respected in between these two lines here. We had the current range. We want to challenge the 4 hour highs because your 4 hour time frame narrative is telling you that there is quite a likely chance if you rebreak these highs, price is going to push up towards 48.25. But yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate. We had a wick fill. I understand that. Perhaps my mind is in a little bit of a wrong place, especially coming out from yesterday's mistake too. So yeah, we took the loss, 60 ticks on this trade position. We're minus $300 for the day, and we're currently down on the account at 28%. So yeah, we're starting to see a lot more of slippage. I think a big part of trading, especially when you want to conform to your own rules, is that you have a very strict form of system and requirements. But then, of course, your mental is going to take a big toll on it as well. So I'm still working on that. You're currently getting wick fills. If you re-break this low, price action should probably come down towards 47.70, but we don't have structure on that just yet. We need some form of pullbacks on the lower time frame. For example, this, if you start breaking the lows, it's pretty solid for you to grab. That about does it for position one. We'll fill in the journal, we'll update everything, and we'll look for more positions that actually conform towards the daily bias for the rest of the day. I think where I probably went wrong was ignoring the daily bias and thinking that I'm pretty smart, and that obviously isn't the case. But I saw potential on the 15. I saw potential once you retested the lows of the 30, but I didn't take into account that you had a wick fill, I guess, on the higher time frame. Yeah. Typically, I would have a daily time frame confluence. So if the daily needs a wick fill, then I'd wait for the wick fill first before looking for buys. But yeah, I mean, to be honest though, the plan actually was followed. I'd probably been a bit picky with the narrative then on that trade position, but to me, it looked like an A++ setup, but maybe I was just a little bit trigger happy today. We'll wait for New York Open. We'll see what we can grab for the rest of the session. I think the plan going forward for this is literally just hit the A+ setups that you can find. If you keep losing, then just blow the account. We'll just get a new one. But again, I think I'm putting a bit too much of a time pressure on this as well, because if you watched my previous videos with the psychology, I'm putting a little bit more pressure on myself with the time because I want to go abroad and travel with a funding account. Yeah, maybe I'm putting a bit too much pressure on myself, but who knows? It's part of the game. I'm kind of fed up of sticking in this rut of 3 years now trading with absolutely nothing to show for it. So again, it's part of a learning curve. If there's any advice from anyone else, let me know. If this is helpful for you when you look at my strategy and you can identify that, okay, maybe this wasn't an A+ setup for him. Now we kind of know roughly what to take, what not to take, how you deal with emotions. This is for you. We'll wait for either rebreak at highs, or if this rebreaks the lows, you're most likely going to take advantage of price coming down towards 47.71.